Happening now, we're breaking down the after-action report on our area's homeless shelters and their usage. And with warming weather, we highlight the importance of motorcycle safety. Plus, a preview of the final episode of a charity cooking show filmed right here in Jamestown.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Those stories and more are coming up. But first, a first responder here in New York State who aided in search and recovery efforts at Ground Zero following the September 11th, 2001 terrorist attacks in New York City has died. New York State Police announced the passing of retired investigator Patrick Hogan today. Investigator Hogan died yesterday at the age of 61 years old from an illness stemming from his assignments at the World Trade Center site. In the days following the attack, the trooper was among the thousands who assisted in the search and recovery efforts at Ground Zero. Hogan first entered the ranks of New York State Police in 1996, and he served with the law enforcement agency for 22 years. From downstate New York, Hogan is survived by his wife and 3 children. Well, one of the two cities' homeless shelters meant to fill an emergency need has closed their doors. The other is expected to follow suit as temperatures continue to rise into the spring months, and the need for code blue safeguards are no longer apparent. Bronson Rasmussen joins us live from the newsroom today with more on the latest of these 2 shelters and really, Bronson, kind of an after action here. What has been happening with these shelters and what's the next plan for them?
Well, Justin, the homeless shelter located at Joy Fellowship Free Methodist Church, they closed their doors about a month ago. While the temporary space only held 8 beds, it did see a lot of foot traffic over their 3 months of operation.
They hosted a total of 64 different guests, so 64 different individuals, with an average number of encounters per guest being 6. So of those 64 people, on average, they stayed at that shelter 6 times, with the highest number of encounters for one individual being 24 times.
Meanwhile, the Mental Health Association's shelter, which opened late in the winter season following a construction delay, is still operational.
When we submitted the applications and did a budget amendment to DSS's Code Blue application, we accounted for them to be able to be open until the end of April and possibly even a couple of weeks into May. And so that was approved. So they can continue to serve until that budget is expended.
Before the shelters were in place, people in need of emergency housing were sent to local hotels and motels for the night. At the shelters, individuals can receive services that were otherwise unavailable. In fact, some of the homeless are giving back themselves, now volunteering.
It puts them in a place that is safe and that is supervised and has built-in support, whereas you send people to a hotel or motel, they don't have any of that.
Both locations plan to reopen next fall if funding returns.
Both shelters are interested in continuing with Code Blue efforts in the coming year. So that's a great thing. I think, there was a lot of effort that went into getting both facilities up and ready. The need is certainly there. We anticipate it will continue to be there.
According to officials, the Mental Health Association's shelter served 114 different individuals in their first 45 days of operation. Now, the Director of Development believes that the high use of both the Joy Fellowship and Mental Health Association shelters will persuade HUD to refund the funding next year. Reporting live in the newsroom, Bronson Rasmussen, WNY News Now.
All right, Bronson, thank you very much. Well, lawmakers in the city of Jamestown, they're hearing from New York State representatives on what to do and what it would mean to go green. Sarah Feerdorf from the Southern Tier West attended the city council meeting this week to explain what it would mean for the city to follow New York State's Climate Smart Community Pledge. The statewide effort aims to better the environment and build livable, energy-independent, and secure communities. The Empire State is giving funding out to those who follow the guidelines. For Jamestown lawmakers, they're concerned about the level of commitment needed from the city if they decide to pledge, and what happens if the requirements are not met.
You guys are a clean energy community because you've been designated for doing 4 actions. Those 4 actions were clean fleets, charging stations, LED street lights, and energy code enforcement training. Those 4 actions in the clean energy community also count in the climate smart communities. Also, like recycling bins in the government buildings. I'm pretty sure everyone has that. You know, some of these are super easy to check off.
Now, other mandatory requirements include a board to make sure that the city is trying to follow those guidelines. That would be composed of at least 1 person from the local government and at least 1 resident. Well, Western New York's congressional representative has introduced legislation that would provide flexibility to local governments administering Medicaid benefits. Congressman Nick Langworthy's bill to Protect Local Taxpayers Act is in response to Governor Kathy Hochul's budget proposal that he says raids $625 million in federal medical assistance percentage funding designated to New York communities since 2011. Langworthy says that the state currently offers a plan with the most expansive Medicaid benefits, and despite requiring counties to pay a significant portion of the bill, officials in Albany do not give counties flexibility in what services are offered and how it's administered. Now, if this law were to pass, it would provide flexibility and allow counties to save money in the end. If Governor Hochul's budget passes as is, Langworthy says counties in the 23rd Congressional District will face a budget shortfall in the tens of millions. Now, here locally, it's estimated Chautauqua and Cattaraugus counties would see $4 million and $2 million, respectively, impacted from the governor's current proposal. Well, the final episode of a locally produced cooking show airs this weekend in Jamestown. A collaboration between the St. Susan Center in Jamestown and the locally owned and operated streaming service, Channel 716. So You Think You Can Cook. It brings together 3 area chefs who compete as part of a charity fundraiser. Now, it was filmed back on March 11th. Home chef Mark Graves, Justin Olmsted face off against the Southern Tier Brewing Company chef Chad Hallberg, using whatever's available in the soup kitchen's pantry and, at times, unusual pairings of donated ingredients. The 3 were judged in 2 rounds, an appetizer and an entree. Now, after considering flavors of a pre-made soup, a winner is crowned at the end of the episode. For contestant Mark Graves, his love of cooking developed in the kitchen alongside his mother.
One of the best sounds is silence. When everyone's eating and you're like, yo, I did it, you know?
You don't put that love into your food, people know. It just tastes.
Yeah, I mean, you can throw ramen noodles in a pot, but you know what? Sometimes that really bad day and that boiling pot of water and that 50-cent pack of ramen noodles brings love. You know, you're just like, man, oh, this is good. You know, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, it's simple.
Yeah, sometimes it's just that simple. Episode 3 premieres on Saturday at 7 o'clock on Channel 716 on Roku and channel716.com. Well, firefighters in Cattaraugus County, they were dispatched to a pretty big brush fire on Thursday evening. Around 4 acres of land caught fire in the town of Cold Spring. That's off of Old Route 17 near Allegheny State Park. Now, dry conditions combined with gusty winds this week, it contributed to an enhanced fire risk in our region. In fact, the National Weather Service earlier in the week issued a special weather statement warning of the possibility of these fires. Now, during the dry spring months, New York's DEC also has a burn ban. That's in place through May 14th. Things like trash fires, bonfires, debris, they're not allowed because they could spark flames like what we saw here on Thursday. Officials say those who violate the burning rules, they could face a minimum fine of $500. It's unclear how the fire started in Cattaraugus County. However, we're told officials are investigating. Well, now let's switch gears and get a first check of our weather forecast. Jackson Hickey in for Andrew, who's off this week. And Jackson, we've been talking about this all week, about that risk of fires like we saw, and it's not just in inland places, but even like Mayville at Lakeside Park behind you. It's dry, so they could pop up anywhere.
Yeah, and you don't expect it to be like that during the spring. Normally when you think of spring, you think of rain, but the past week we've been really dry, and as you mentioned, the Weather Service did have that special weather statement out, so that along with the burn ban until May 14th, you shouldn't be burning anything outside. But for the rest of the day today, it is going to be gorgeous. Live look at Lakeside Park, it is already looking just fantastic out there. You can see just a few clouds out there, and we will remain that way for the rest of the day. Radar over the past 3 hours, it might look like it's frozen, but there is just nothing on radar right now. No clouds, no rain, nothing. So it is just going to be a perfect day, and it will be a bit cooler near the lakeshore as it has been the past few days. So mid 70s near the lakeshore to the low 80s for much of southern Chautauqua County. And it will be gorgeous like it has been the past couple of days. So lots of sunshine, overall a perfect day, and the wind will be a lot calmer. I'll have some more details, including some rain over the weekend. Justin, what's next?
Jackson, thank you. As we continue here, we're going to break down a federal push to improve infrastructure and its impact right here on the Empire State. And later, it's Black Maternal Health Week. We're hearing from advocates who are rallying on the subject.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Have you ever wanted to live out your dreams? Hunt, fish, in all corners of the earth? Well, now's your chance. Follow Primitive Patriot Outdoors as we live out our dreams and show you how to live out yours through outdoor adventures. From Western New York to Africa to all corners of the earth, follow us on this adventure. It's an experience you've never seen before. Lead and Lures, Roku TV, channel 716.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Former President Donald Trump met with New York's Attorney General for a day-long deposition on Thursday. It marks his first time back in New York after he pled not guilty last week to 34 felony charges of falsifying business records. New York's Attorney General Letitia James filed a lawsuit last year alleging that Trump, his children, and his organization provided false financial statements to lenders in order to enrich themselves. The suit is seeking $250 million and a ban on Trump's family ability to do business in New York State. Well, Thursday in Albany, Governor Kathy Hochul joined with the U.S. Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, to talk about infrastructure funding. Our New York Capital correspondent Elise Klein breaks down this new law, which will make a big investment on bridges in New York and on rural communities.
Today, the Biden-Harris administration announces $21 million in infrastructure law funding to restore the Castleton Bridge in Albany County as part of the Bridge Investment Program. Governor Kathy Hochul says today it's important for the state of New York to have federal support for bridge and transportation infrastructure projects.
But one thing that's so important is to make sure that this state has 21st century infrastructure. For far too long, these priorities were neglected. The federal government under previous administration did not focus on this.
U.S. Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg says the bridge investment program will have economic and safety impacts for rural counties in New York.
So as you look at what it takes to connect Albany County to points east, all of that depends on a lot of places that can become a single point of failure. And I would add to that the good paying jobs, good paying union jobs associated with so much of this construction that's going to benefit people too.
United States Representative Paul Tonko says the federal dollars from this program will help states like New York facilitate the infrastructure needs of their communities.
We need to invest in our bridges, but if it's not done at the federal level, it percolates down to the state. The state is more burdened.
In Albany, Elise Klein, WNY News Now.
It's Black Maternal Health Week, and advocates in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, they rallied on Thursday with a call to action. Advocates say Black maternal death rates are 3 times higher than that for white mothers. And they're calling for more support and funding for maternal health, Douglas midwives, and other healthcare professionals. Maternal deaths can occur days or even weeks after a child is born, and mothers need to receive extended care.
I think right now we're looking at a lot of things. We're looking at mental health. We're looking at the Medicaid extension that's gone to 12 months. Thankfully, we have that here in the Commonwealth, which means there's care for women who may not have access for 12 months after the baby is born.
The Shapiro-Davis budget also invests over $2 million to expand maternal health programming and study the ways to reduce maternal mortality and morbidity. Lawmakers are now exploring legislative options too. Well, we're learning new details about the man arrested in connection to the leak of classified U.S. intelligence documents. Authorities now say the 21-year-old member of the Massachusetts Air National Guard has recently been promoted to the ranks of Airman First Class. Emily Schmidt is following the unfolding investigation from Washington.
In contrast to an alleged crime that started with quiet leaks of classified government information online, the arrest of a suspect unfolded publicly. News helicopters watched the FBI take a 21-year-old into custody outside his Massachusetts home.
Today, the Justice Department arrested Jack Douglas Teixeira in connection with an investigation into alleged unauthorized removal, retention, and transmission of classified national defense information.
The U.S. Attorney General spoke for only about a minute, but the leak itself has been a top priority since the Defense Department became aware of it about a week ago.
We continue to work around the clock, along with the interagency and the intelligence community, to better understand the scope, scale, and impact of these leaks.
The government has said little directly about the suspect. People briefed on the investigation tell CNN the focus had narrowed to people who had access to the documents and the Discord social media group where documents were posted. They contain details about the war in Ukraine and intelligence on both U.S. adversaries and allies. So how could a 21-year-old potentially have gotten access to it? The Pentagon's deputy press secretary points out this is a criminal act he calls a willful violation.
It is important to understand that we do have stringent guidelines in place for safeguarding classified and sensitive information.
Jack Teixeira will make his first appearance in federal court Friday as the investigation continues and the Pentagon reviews who gets access to the country's secrets. I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
A new report suggests consumers might see lower prices in the coming months. Numbers out Thursday show the Producer Price Index fell at 2.7% in March. That's a dramatic drop in inflation compared to the 4.9% a year earlier. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, it's a 0.5 percentage lower month to month. Economic experts say the PPI can forecast consumer prices if producers pass along their savings. Another report out Thursday shows new jobless claims are averaging about 240,000 a week. That's slightly higher than before the pandemic. Well, coming up next, we introduce you to a new furry friend who's up for adoption as our pet of the week. And later, motorcyclists in our region, they're outlining important safety tips for both bikers and drivers. But first, Jackson has a full look at our weather forecast right after this.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
There's an old saying, there's no news in the newsroom. Well, it's true. The time I spend at the anchor desk is just part of my day. Most of our time is spent gathering stories in the community, stories that matter to you. We can't do it alone, and we need your help. When you see breaking news or have a news tip we should know about, drop us a line on Facebook today, email our news desk, or call our newsroom at 488-7226 so we can bring those stories straight back to you.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Fast, accurate, and every day. First Defense Weather.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. I'm Jackson Hickey. I wanted to remind you, Storm Spotter training is coming up next Thursday, April 20th at 7 in the evening. It is online, but you do have to register, and you can do so at weather.gov/BUF/Skywarn. That's the National Weather Service in Buffalo's Skywarn training. So that is coming up just next week. And a reminder that radar is a great tool that we have, but Storm Spotters are really crucial, especially as we get into severe weather season. So certainly consider getting involved with that. Right now at the Jamestown Airport, we are at 75 degrees and are mostly clear skies. Just a couple of those higher level cirrus clouds you can see live on the News Now camera right now. Wind pretty calm, west at 5. Visibility not an issue, 10 miles, and the dew point 38. So still pretty dry, but it is certainly comfortable, and we will add on probably another 5 or so degrees to this temperature as we go throughout the day. Almanac for today. Yesterday, officially at the airport, we got up to 79 degrees, low of 52 overnight, so it was quite a warm night. The average for today, 56 for the high and 34 for the low. We will be well above 56 again today, and I think we may even break this record of 80 set back in 1941 for the high. It will be very warm today, well above average, so we'll let you know if we do break that record. Satellite and radar over the past 5 hours, you can see still under some high pressure in the northeast, but that low pressure system just off to our north, this pink line indicating a stationary front just over Lake Ontario, but that will not impact us at least throughout the day today. But looking at future scan, that will change as we go throughout the day. Perhaps a couple more of those higher level cirrus clouds, but really will be a great day for the rest of your Friday. As we get into Saturday, though, here you see 3 a.m. tomorrow, perhaps some of those showers coming into our area from that low pressure, and really nothing impactful, at least through the early hours of Saturday. But as we progress through the day Saturday, we could get some pop-up thunderstorms. This is something you normally see during the summer with some of these really isolated thunderstorms, and they, some parts of the county probably won't see anything, but it'll be just sort of hit or miss with these storms. So certainly something to watch out for tomorrow. But most of the day will be fantastic, and the same will be true for Sunday. We'll still be in the 70s, perhaps a couple isolated showers and thunderstorms, and then a line will come through on Sunday associated with the cold front, so we'll watch out for that. But a look at the extended forecast powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions. Again, parts of the county will be in the lower 80s today. I think we could break that record at the Jamestown Airport. And then Saturday and Sunday we'll have some isolated thunderstorms. Most of your weekend will be nice. It won't be a total washout, so you can still get out and enjoy it. And then as we head throughout the rest of the week, we'll be a little more seasonable as we head into Monday and Tuesday in the lower 50s and back into the 40s on Tuesday. Justin, I see we have an animal in the studio. Tell me a little bit more about it.
Yes, Jackson, this is my favorite part of the week, our Pet of the Week segment. Joining me live today is Kathleen and Jeffrey, both from the Chautauqua County Humane Society. Thanks for taking some time, and our buddy Jeffrey is really excited to be here.
He really is, and he's sharing his favorite toys with you.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about him. What's he like?
Jeffrey is actually my absolute favorite dog in the shelter right now, and has been for a minute. He is just one of the most intelligent and brightest dogs that I have ever worked with. He loves training. He knows a lot of tricks and cues. He's also really young, playful, energetic. He's only 2 years old, so he would really love an active family. Someone who's going to take him hiking, spend some time helping him get that energy out. He loves playing fetch in the yard, but really he also just loves laying on our feet and snuggling.
Right.
He is actually one of our longest residents. He's been there for over 100 days.
Oh,
and
really?
I think it's because He's super friendly with people. He does not love other dogs. And so it's been hard to find him a family where he can just be the only child, huh, buddy?
Yeah, and you know, when you look at him, he's such a beautiful boy. And we were talking before the show, I had a family dog, Jack, who reminds me a lot of our buddy Jeffrey here, where you kind of get, you know, Jack was a mutt, but he had a little border collie, a little lab, and I think that's what, I'm no dog expert, but it looks like that he's got the curved tail. And when you look at a dog like Jeffrey, they will make you be healthy.
They will.
Because he will make you take him outside.
You're going to run and walk every day.
It is not that. During the summer, you know, you get the zoomies, you got to have a good living room. You can throw that toy and he'll bring it right back to you. But so not good with other animals, it sounds like.
Yes.
And I know one of the things we talk about a lot is like if you have kids, you kind of, with somebody this high energy, you got to make sure you get the right age.
Older children, at least 6 and up, maybe a little older. He just has so much energy that he's going to want to climb up in their lap.
Right.
And I would not want him knocking a toddler over.
No, certainly. And you know, and that's a good responsibility for your kids to be able to take part of as well. And one of the things that you guys do at the Humane Society is if someone's interested in seeing our man Jeffrey here, it's pretty easy. You can set up an appointment, you can bring your family and meet with him, and it's not necessarily a commitment, but a meet and greet.
Exactly. And we absolutely recommend bringing the entire family. We're happy to have 5 or 6 people at once come in and meet them. And also, we offer something called Foster to Adopt, where you could take Jeffrey home for a couple of weeks as a trial and see how it's working out, which is nice. Gets him out of the shelter and gives you a chance to see what he would be like.
Absolutely, but I think after spending just a couple minutes with him, I don't know how you could say no to Jeffrey.
I can't. Those eyes. It's those beautiful eyes.
And he's just so kind. Like you feel their energy.
Yes.
And maybe he's high energy, but it's a good.
It's a good, loving energy for sure.
It certainly is. Thank you both for coming in. As we mentioned, if you want to learn more about Jeffrey, head on over to chqhumane.org.
Thank you for having us.
Well, coming up next, as the weather finally is setting in here, it's all about biker safety for both drivers and fellow riders. We take a look at the important safety tips you need to know.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Have you ever wanted to live out your dreams? Hunt, fish, in all corners of the earth? Well, now's your chance. Follow Primitive Patriot Outdoors as we live out our dreams and show you how to live out yours through outdoor adventures. From Western New York to Africa to all corners of the earth, follow us on this adventure. It's an experience you've never seen before. Lead and Lures, Roku TV, Channel 716.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job. I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing. After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working. I got laid off twice, but you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this. You will find something.
You will find something new.
Well, as the warm weather continues, you're likely seeing a lot more motorcycles out enjoying the blue skies and open road. But with more bikers on the road, a renewed push for rider and driver safety is underway. Erie News Now's Tom Kowalski with more.
As summer grows closer, bikers begin taking their rides out of storage and hitting the road again. But after a motorcycle accident left 1 dead and 1 injured late last night, the biker community is coming together to remind both riders and drivers to be safe during the summer season.
You got to pretend everybody's trying to kill you, because no matter what happens, if they don't see you, you're the one that's going to end up being in trouble.
Rick Cowboy Sconer is a member of ABATE, a group aimed at making riding safer for bikers.
ABATE is Alliance of Bikers aimed towards education. What we do is we strive for motorcycle awareness, motorcycle safety, and we also fight for all motorcyclists' rights in Harrisburg.
ABATE of Erie County President Marty Buderbaugh says after he learned that the biker killed last night wasn't wearing a helmet, he wanted to urge safety for all riders, no matter their experience level.
It's always a good idea to wear your gloves
helmet, and a good pair of boots. The road, the street is no place for horseplay. That stuff belongs on a track. Doing that on the road gives all motorcyclists a bad name.
And Mark Alexandrovich of Alex Power Sports says it's not just riders who need to be careful, it's also drivers.
People that ride motorcycles, when you're driving your car, you are aware of that. You know, the statement, look twice, save a life. And that is really true. Look once, look a second time before you pull out or change lanes, you know, or pull away from the stop sign.
Tom Kowalski, Erie News Now.
Tom, thank you. Important tips everybody needs to know. That does it for our news broadcast this week. The news is always on at WNYNewsNow.com. Have a great weekend.